Welcome to the channel, and today we're going to talk about whether democracy is so good. But, ow! Ow! Okay, hi everyone, this is one of my lives. I want to talk today about some of my thoughts, actually, about whether democracy is being gagged, you know, because I'm seeing things in the news that really worry me, actually. And the more you look at it, the more you begin to see just how serious things are getting in this world in regards to our freedom of speech. I sometimes even have to look at what I'm going to say on this channel because I worry about what whether a channel can get banned for even speaking its mind about what it thinks about the world, you know. And so I'm just come on live, guys. Hi, I'm just seeing you coming on live now. I'll say hello to you in a minute, but we're going to talk about, is democracy being gagged at the moment? Not just in the UK, but also in America and around the world, because there's been some interesting sort of little developments. Not being watching American TV much, and I'm not seeing much of the news from America on mainstream UK news. I was a bit worried this week when I saw that there was some revelations that, you know, remember the Russian Gate scandal, in which they were going to sort of tell that they were saying that American politics was all in collusion with Russia, and that computers have been compromised and all sorts of servers have been compromised, and that Trump was going to get into power because the Russians were making sure this would happen, you know. And I see that this week, I'll say hellos in a moment to you guys coming on live, but I see this week that there's been some revelations there that the Hillary Clinton campaign was behind all this, you know, and they're admitting it. You know, that the actual lawyer for Hillary Clinton is now kind of admitting that this is the real thing. This is what he did. You know, we just okay, this was what happened. But so it was used as a tool to alter government. You know, it was a lie being used to change the course, not just of American democracy, but also democracies throughout the world, because what happens in America affects all of us, doesn't it, really? So her lawyer was behind it. Hillary Clinton's lawyer was behind Russiagate, and they were going to impeach Donald Trump over this. And I'm worried for this because, you know, people think, oh, Craig, you're very right wing in what you say and the things you think, and you know, you're almost like a Republican, you know. But I'm actually very left wing in what I think, actually, because I believe in, you know, that government should get involved in social change, and it should help the poor, and it should help with hospitals and with things such as utilities and all those type of things. We need a government to be able to get involved with things. But my God, when corruption on this level is happening, how can we trust anybody? You know, we've kind of got into two separate little worlds, haven't we? You know, I mean, there's those people that believe this, and we take all our information and we watch the videos and we watch things that we believe in for that. Then there's other people that believe this, and they get in their own little world there, and they only watch the things that confirm what they already believe. And this creates tremendous division, because there's nowhere we can look to find the truth, you know, the unaltered truth, the uncolored truth. You used to think you could go to the BBC for this, and that's become just as much these agendas that seem to be in the background that color everything. So I was really, really worried to see all that business about Russiagate. I don't know if any of you guys have been watching some of this, but, you know, if information that was there prepared to take a president to impeachment is now just going to be washed away, I don't think so. I think people are going to have to get up in arms about this, because this is something that is very concerning for everybody, you know. And then just keeping on the similar sort of tact with this, you know, because I'd be interested, put your comments in the comments below, because these are only short little videos. So they're really just to stimulate thoughts and ideas. But we've got Boris Johnson over there at the moment talking to Biden. And they have all the conferences, and Biden, we suddenly discover now, is all pro-Ireland. You know, he doesn't understand what's going on in Ireland. He's one of those Americans that thinks that the Ireland was invaded by British forces sometimes in the 60s and took it over, Northern Ireland. No, it wasn't Northern Ireland. They went in to quell the troubles. You know, it's been part of the UK for a long time. And whether you believe in that or not, and you think it's right or wrong, that's beside the point. It's not. What Biden's doing is damaging our democracy, because we're never going to build a border between Ireland and Northern Ireland. That's never going to happen. And yet he seems to have this in his mind. And then he's also now going to be seeing the French very soon. And that worries me, you know, because, you know, the French don't like it because they wanted to sell out-of-date equipment to the Australians, didn't they? You know, out-of-date submarines. You remember I was talking about all the submarine problems we were going to get, and the coming up wars that I foresee coming with Taiwan, and here's France with their nose put out over it all. So there's another division in our democracies that's under threat, is being kind of silenced. We're not hearing the full thing about. We're being silenced over all the things that are happening with the trade deals being done. And there's Johnson thinking he's got some form of trade deal, but it's a useless, frankly, you know, useless bloody thing he's got there. And all they can really agree on is the environment, and that's it. So we big up the idea that we've got all about the environment, but we play down the idea that we're not going to get a trade deal in services, for example, financial services. But again, what worries me is journalists wanted to ask them all questions afterwards. British journalists started to ask questions, and what happens? They silence a whole lot again. With Biden, they don't let him speak, you know. He walks away from the press. We don't engage the press. I mean, it's gone the complete opposite to where it was, where the president of the United States under Trump would directly talk to the people through Twitter and avoid the press. Now we avoid the press completely. So what worries me with all this is that democracy is being gagged. It's being shut up. It's being stopped. And I don't know what your views are on this, guys, but I'm saying hello, but this is my views. And perhaps I'm overstepping the mark as my role as a psychic. But, you know, some of these things obviously influence the way you think about where you're going to go with what you're going to see for the predictions of the world. And I got a lot right this year. I've got some wrong before. Of course, I got some wrong as well, but I never claimed to get it all right. Sort of saw those volcanoes happening, for example, that are all happening at the moment. And I get quite a lot right, but I worry now, particularly not just about the fact that I think we're going to start seeing more conflicts with particularly China again, because that's the enemy of democracy, and the enemy of democracy with lots of money that they can invest in lots of people's pockets. I mean, one of the things that I think is going to become the big issue in the future is whether politicians should be able to also have roles outside of government. Because if you have a role outside of government, if you can, like that Hillary Clinton's lawyer, he can go and make all his money with law and the rest of it. But politicians should be politicians and nothing more. David Cameron here in the UK, politician caught with his hand in the honeypot, you know, and what do we do about it? Do we send him to jail for all those things? No, you know, they've got their own little closed shop. So how can you ever have a democracy if your politicians are also got their fingers in industry, or industry that is being influenced by money from overseas, whether it be Russiagate, or whether it be China, or whether it be whatever, or the arms industry, for example? We're never going to have a democracy. And I think this is what I feel that's going to be for the future, because I feel this is going to become the thing worldwide that the people are going to challenge. Because whatever little bubble you're in, you know, I believe this and I believe that, we've got to collectively say, look, we've all got to work together for this collective truth. And we need to be able to see the collective truth. And everything is colored by money at the moment. all of the politicians are colored by their own personal interests that influence their policies and what they do. Not all of them. The small guys probably aren't, but the guys at the top and the girls at the top are putting us into serious trouble. So that's my starting point. Now, I expect I'm going to have a look at some of your comments now, guys. So I'm going to say hello to you. And I say thanks for coming online with me for a few minutes today, just as I talk about things sometimes, you know, that I've been thinking about, and I'm thinking about what's going to happen in the world, you know, and what's going to be ahead. And of course, sometimes these color whatever you might get psychically. So some of this is really, like I say, my thoughts. But, you know, what is it going to, where are we going to go with this? What do you think? What is the future of democracy? I actually think, actually I'm going on because I'm going to look at your comments, but I actually think we're going to have a bit of a reaction against this soon, all worldwide. In the UK, in America, it's already started to happen, but it's getting squashed. Where can we speak, though? Where can we speak? Always worried to breach certain topics and put certain keywords in on your YouTubes because, you know, people like me can get kicked off, you know, and we're just expressing an idea. We're not trying to incite anything, but we get worried because nobody can say the truth. And that is, where is democracy when we have that? So I just see a few of your hellos. I'll hook a few of those up as I'm looking at it, guys. I'm not going to say hello to each of you. I see a lot of you come online quickly here, right? And all over the world, we've got a lot of people coming in from New Zealand and Australia. Again, you know, similar problems over there at the moment. You know, there's a lot of social unrest, isn't there in Australia? Norway, you're pretty lucky there. It's not quite so bad at the moment, but there's but everywhere there is a lot of unrest about, you know, where the world is going. You know, like that Australian business with buying all the nuclear submarines. I mean, you don't want to buy a load of outdated old equipment from France. They were going to sell diesel submarines. What's the good of that? You need the top of the range, you know, because it's going to have to last you for a long time. Madness all round. So what backhanders were going on before for all that to happen? It makes you wonder. And I think I agree with you, Gary. It makes you scared. You know, it seems bleak at the moment for everybody around the world at the moment, you know. And here we are. So you're overstepping your mark over being psychic, and is the side you are not using. Well, I'm talking thoughts at the moment. I'm talking spiritual thoughts at the moment because I'm not really, you know, I'm not here just to see these are my predictions. These are my thoughts, you know. And I think spiritual people need to think about these things too. You know, we need to think about these things from a spiritual context, because if we just sort of duck the issues, all of us spiritual people, and just say, oh, I'm just going to be spiritual, I don't get involved in politics, or I don't get involved in this and that and the other, you know. Well, it's only when good men do nothing that evil can succeed. And this is the way the world is. So we do need to think about this, particularly, you know, how would it be if all these forces did get worse and worse and worse? We wouldn't be able to be spiritual. We wouldn't be able to do our spirituality. We'd have to hide our light. We'd have to go underground. And that's not going to be a very good world, is it, when it's like that? You know, and greed is the only influence from the government. It does seem, which government you're talking about, it doesn't matter. It's the same with all of you, you know, every government, it's bad news. And you're saying here, can I put that one up? Has it gone up? No, I can't. Sorry, I've got. Thanks for putting a donation. Politicians will stop being corrupt and evil when the people who keep electing them start thinking for themselves and stop being away with the fairies, as you would say. That's the main problem. In fact, you know, that, Rudy, is so true, isn't it? You know, we're all getting lost in our own little bubbles. This is what I was saying. We're all kind of not looking at the issues collectively. You know, everybody on all sides of the divides in politics and in nations and things are all being separated because we've got stuck in our own ideas. All of us collectively, spiritual minded people particularly, we've got to all start looking at the bigger picture. You know, what is good for humanity as a whole? And gagging people, shutting people up is not the way forward, is it? So I think we need to be vocal about those type of things, and, you know, not be so quiet, because I think spiritual people need to have a voice. I mean, Vivekananda, the Indian great teacher who was a disciple of Ramakrishna, I mean, he was very much for the liberation of India from the British. And he said, you know, the people of India should even eat meat, you know, to be strong enough to fight the British. And he was absolutely right, because a person has to put their voice forward. Because if we don't cherish our democracy, where are we? And I really do worry for the fact that too many people nowadays are getting gagged. Don't you think? And someone's here saying Joe Biden needs to concentrate on the problems in the U.S.A. How does he involve himself in another? I can't read it. Hang on. In another country's politics. Northern Ireland, 1921 centennial this year. Yeah, there we go. You know, too many people are dictating the democracies around the world, aren't they? How many of us really feel that our vote does much? You know, do we really get our true voice? You know, do we really get our voice said to the world? You know, and, you know, the elections, someone here saying, is not in the hands of middle class people. Well, they're always the ones that tend to create a democracy often. We need a middle class very often. And then we also got, you know, the elections coming up in Germany. What's going to happen there? You know, I think Germany's going to be in a very difficult position, because I feel with Germany, it's going to be like a hung parliament type thing. And you need leadership. But the problem is we got fake leadership in the world. That's the problem. We need real leadership. I think Germany will actually swing much more to I don't know much about German politics at all there, but I do think it will swing more to the right. I think we'll start getting a reaction to social unrest, and we're going to have I think a lot of disruption in Germany in the coming months. So I think it's pretty going to be, I agree with you, quite scary there in Germany. And I think we'll start to see a lot of changes in Europe generally, France as well. You know, France is sort of saber rattling at the moment on the world stage, but I think the internal problems of France are going to be something that we're going to see a lot of problems in the coming months. So this will probably go into next year. I think we'll see a lot of unrest in Europe. You know, it doesn't appear that way at the moment, but I think it will be. You know, the great reset people talk. So anyway, I'm just wanted to just come in and just give you a few thoughts there. And also remind you that Jane and I go live again on Saturday evenings now, rather than tonight, Fridays. And you can also, guys, you can still, I think you can still go and get my free book download if you're just joining us for the first time on Amazon. So go and have a look on Amazon and have a look for Psychic Encounters, where I've got my free book download. And I'm going to leave it there. I just thought I'd come in for a short little talk with you today. A few ideas. What do you think? Put your thoughts below. Are we being gagged? Is our democracy right at this moment under serious threat? And what do you see will happen to it in the future? What do you think will happen? Will there one day perhaps be a time, and I think there will be one day a time, when politicians will be people we will look to because of their exemplary qualities as a human being. We will look to them as people who have good character, well-meaning, sincerity, truth, love, all those qualities of humanitarianism. You know, one day I think we will. But look at what we got now. And can any of those qualities that I've mentioned there be applied to pretty much anybody out there at the moment? The wrong type of people go into politics, because politics is power. Politics is easily corrupted. So I do think, and I agree, I think we are definitely being gagged, and we're being misled. That's also a form of gagging. You can easily mislead people by the way you you phrase things, the way you you edit things, the way you allow whatever to climb to the top of the search engines, or whatever you allow to climb to the top of YouTube. All these things are forms of gagging. Who sets the algorithm to decide what comes top? Is it this politician or that politician? Do I have this persuasion or that persuasion? Is this in my financial interest to have these things at the top of Google, or these things at the top of Facebook, or these things being shown? It's all determined by money, power, and the hidden forces. So those are the things I feel are a threat. And as I say, I think the way forward, we're going to see a lot more people like me and people like you talking about these things and expressing the fact that we are being gagged. So thanks for joining me. See you again soon. Bye for now.